Okay, howdy. Good morning. It is Tuesday, 10:29, and I'm on my way to the gym. I don't actually start for another hour, but I wanted to get a head start and be consistent. I have found that consistency trumps everything else when it comes to achieving the desired result. So, getting up at 5 a.m., regardless of whether or not I have to, is incredibly important to me these days. So, I'm going to get to work a little after 6. I have a session at 7, and then I'm going to stay there and get the thing done that I would have put off to later in the day because I have the time. And I'm going to work on cultivating a productive day today. And what I found yesterday, which was interesting, is I pretty much worked from like 6 a.m. to like 7 p.m. However, it wasn't like a 13-hour straight split, if you will. I know I feel like some entrepreneurs on YouTube talk about how they work 12, 13 plus hours nonstop. I don't know how that's possible, but it's not possible for me. So I'll do a couple hours, take maybe a 2-hour break, do a couple more hours. It's just kind of this continual, gradual progression. And I want to transition here to another topic, and that is complaining and dealing with disrespect. So yesterday, I'm going to try to be as vague as possible. Someone at my job has a habit of triggering me when it comes to certain situations. It's actually in regards to one aspect of what we do in our business. This person always seems very reactive. And what was fascinating was I was talking to someone working on scheduling and was in their seat momentarily. We were all moving around, and this person was like, I need my seat back. And it became, even now as I'm explaining the story, I'm careful not to complain, because I've noticed in the past that complaining is so easy to do. It's so easy. And we need to be very mindful of the things that really come easy. Not that we should distrust them and be suspicious of them at all times, because some of the best things come easy. When you walk outside and you see the sunrise, that comes easy. Should we not appreciate that? Of course not. Of course we should. But some of the things, some of the bad habits is what I mean that come easy. It's easy to pick up the ice cream. It's much harder to go to the gym. I happen to do both from time to time. But anyway, I've been cognizant of how complaining is essentially like summoning a demon, right? And every time you complain after that, subsequently about that topic, you make it stronger and stronger in your mind. And then you give it power, okay? And so I am grateful, and I highly encourage you as well to practice meditation, breath work, journaling, because that was able to really keep me grounded. And then begin the next step, which is calling the person out on it. And that is its own art that I will not even attempt to say I've mastered. But I will say that it does take practice as well. Communication takes practice. And what happened after the situation was I went back home and I journaled about it. And I said, okay, what is this? What are my thoughts saying? What are my emotions saying? What is this teaching me more about myself? And my thoughts were like, well, I think she just doesn't know how to communicate. I said some other stuff, but leave it at that. And what are my emotions saying? My emotions saying that I was feeling annoyed and frustrated. It's such a simple thing. And finally, and this is the kicker here, what is this teaching me more about myself? Well, it's teaching me that I cannot assume that other people think the same way that I do. I don't know if you've ever made this mistake before. Maybe it's not a mistake, but made this assumption before that other people think the same way you do. I've had a habit of, my perception is like, why aren't they doing X, Y, Z? That's what I would do. It's like, well, that the mistake is thinking that they think like you, that they would act like you. People are not necessarily like you. And so that was the assumption I made and the mistake I made. And I've learned from it. And so we can't complain. We should try not to complain, right? We should try to be grateful. But also we have to stand our ground. And in this situation, I was like, okay, give me a second. She persisted. I'm like, okay. And I find that sometimes I get so flustered internally that it's hard to responsibly react. So, and this reminds me of something that Psych Hacks, the YouTube channel, says. Sometimes trying to solve the problem creates a bigger problem. So I think ultimately it was all right the way that it was resolved, if you will. However, now going forward, and since this happened a few times, it's nothing like terribly egregious, but it is rather annoying. And I don't even know if this person's aware that they're doing this, is to say something. But to say it in a calm, grounded manner, because the person who loses their cool loses. And so it's really important to be cognizant of that to the best of your ability. At the same time, you know, it's all this stuff is challenging because there's no necessarily right answer. I said the only right answer is the one that's not violent, because that isn't gonna lead to anything necessarily good. But you have to pick your battles, because sometimes trying to like solve it makes it a bigger issue. However, at the same time, you want to stand your ground and make sure the other person is aware that they need to respect you. And so I know I've been very vague. I want to get into more specifics. I doubt that the person or the people that I tell stories about will watch these videos. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't do these things. But we'll see going forward how I can do it in such a way that's helpful, at the same time kind of maintain some sort of anonymity. But yeah, I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one.